So a small presentation. So yeah, I'm Greg. I co-founded a digital agency that is called 3110, and we've been here since like 1 year and a half. We worked a lot with brands in China that worked on WeChat. So that's where actually we started hitting our head against the wall using WeChat because it's like kind of like difficult and start figuring out how everything is working. So today, what I really want to present is a bit like the insight I got from like 1 year and a half experience of working with this API. We mostly worked on like the HTML web API. There's another API that we're gonna see. That's called like the official account. That is very exciting one. You can do a lot of stuff, very advanced, like programming a chatbot, for instance. Yeah, so we already developed on that pretty recently. So yeah, that's pretty much. So first, that's the menu. So first thing I would like to show you is what can we do with those two API. Second is like some feedbacks and tips I got, and useful resources. So it's more something that it's a takeaway that you will get. And the meat of the session is like the part 4 and 5. That's gonna be like actually like the real life coding session. So first, for everybody, to make it clear, what are we talking about? So there is like two API. So API is a way to enhance, to actually like access functionality of a services, provided by the developer. So there is like API for OA. So I'm gonna like use this term OA a lot. That is actually like the shortening on WeChat service official account. So service official account, you already know that, I guess. That's you subscribe to some of those. There's two types of official accounts. There's like the subscription account and there's the service account. We're only gonna talk about the service account today. Subscription account is like it's not inside your friend feed. And yeah, like the example is like Vegas one. And the second term I'm gonna use a lot, JS-SDK. That's the second API we're gonna see. It's an API that is used for web page. So like the goal of this API is gonna actually like enhance the functionality of a web page on WeChat. And it's what does it mean? JS-SDK is like WeChat JavaScript software development kit. So yeah. Any question from that as well? I would like to have like this session interactive. So, I mean, if you have any questions, stop me because like some things might be not very obvious. So don't hesitate to stop me if you don't understand something. So functional part, use case. So first we're gonna see like the JS-SDK use case. So what can we do with WeChat? So one of the first use of the JS-SDK that is asked by a lot of clients, in my case, is like, how can we customize like a page when you share that to your friends, right? So when you share a page to your friends on WeChat, you can have a title, image, and description, and this one can be customized through WeChat JS-SDK. That's the first very common use. But we can also imagine like some more complex system. So one of the system I'm gonna show you is we can actually create a QR code scanner inside WeChat, a web page that is a QR code scanner. So why? Because like WeChat gives you this functionality, and beyond what you can do, you can like imagine some workflow. So that was like one use case we imagined. Is like imagine being a museum, and then you scan a page, a web page, and then you have like a micro applications that allows you to actually like scan some QR code just nearby the paintings to actually get more information. So that's a possibility as well we can do with WeChat SDK. WeChat JS-SDK gives you like lots of multimedia functionalities on the web page, and one of those is actually accessing the microphone. And they also provide a very interesting API services that allows you to record your voice if you are talking in Chinese, and it actually is going to transcribe the voice into text. So just imagine you can, for instance, like give instruction to your web page using that. So that was what we like think as a use case. So QR code scanner can actually allow you to do some workflows. That's a project we did actually. It's like an event booking system just in WeChat and just using a JS-SDK. So like the workflow is like if I want to go to this event, I go to a web page. Then actually like I book my page. It's generating a QR code for me. And then after like someone on the event, we will scan your QR code just using like a WeChat web browser, and will validate your subscription. So for instance, that's one of the use case we did. Very interesting as well and very common, WeChat payment. So you can access to WeChat payment on a web page. So if you want to sell something, you can build a simple HTML5 page and like selling your product and just adding JS-SDK to add like the WeChat payment. And poof, you can have like an e-commerce system very easily on that. So that's for the JS-SDK part. So how to enhance a web page. The second use case is like official account. So in this case, we won't be inside the browser. We'll be inside the official account. So what can you do? So we can take some example of stuff that already been done. One of the most impressive example was on the Nike, the Nike official account. They actually leverage the functionality on the official account that can give you access to the GPS data of the person to actually like create run tracking app inside WeChat. So the person will just like actually follow a Nike account and then like say, okay, I'm starting my training on the official account, leave the official account open and then like start running. In the end, like the WeChat will send them a card of what they run and other statistics. That's one of the most advanced functionality that happens. So one of the concepts we had as well that actually got developed very recently by Fresh Print is a system that allows you to actually like remove the hassle of FAPIAOs. So let's say, for instance, you have like a FAPIAO, and instead of making a report every month that is very time consuming, you just like take a screenshot and send that to an official account, as if you send that to a friend. After behind is like the FAPIA will be like recognized by a computer. The information will be actually like written, and then like it will give you back your amount that you have this month. So that's an example that can leverage the official account functionalities. Other more geeky stuff, we can imagine interacting with the Internet of Things using the official account. So I will explain you a bit later what is exactly official account. But like generally speaking, what you can do with an official account is like you can access to all the API available. So you can access to Google Translate. You can access to like APIs like WeThings, for instance, that is like a Xiaomi like provider of devices. And you can interact with them. That means you can give them instruction, you can get some information back, etc. So like one of the examples we thought was, imagine we connect an official account to WeThings, that is like a camera that track your house, right? So if there is like some people, like breaking inside your house, just imagine like this device connected to your WeChat. So like if someone actually like go to your house without your permission, then you get a pop-up, a notification on WeChat. How cool would it be without like installing anything? So that's one of the possibilities. Another thing that we did on our official account, there was more geeky and more like a hack, was actually using the AQICN API. They don't have an API actually that we scraped them. So we use their data to actually like create a small bot that can give you the current AQI of the place you are. So it was very basic. Like we could have used like the GPS functionality to like just like detect where we are, but we just say okay, we just write like AQI off and the city you are. Then actually like the official account will give you back the AQI. So that's like the screenshot of what we did. Yeah, that's an example of stuff you can do. So if you think about that, then you can really realize like the power of an official account. Like you can do a chatbot inside, you can do like artificial intelligence. You can do like multimedia manipulations. It's like very, 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 very like powerful tool. So yeah, that's the use case. So now I would like to give you some feedbacks from like developing on those APIs, working with WeChat, and especially as a foreigner, because my Chinese is very bad, and I'm not reading very well Chinese. So how can you survive as a developer using like a tool that is like all the resources are in Chinese? So three parts. First, the first one is like documentation and resources. So all the documentation is in Chinese. There is almost no or very few English documentations on that. So that's the first problem. And they actually have WeChat have a documentation in English, but this one is like outdated. So it's a good start, but usually like it's better like start understanding the logic of the API with the English documentation, but not relying too much on that because the example are broken and the calls are sometimes wrong. So they made some evolution of the API, so like you can just like try working on this API during like 1 hour to realize like this was discontinued, so you couldn't work on that. First thing. The second thing is like the API quality and stability. So WeChat API is like the developer tools not that good. So like the first problem is like the technical choices they used is accusing the use of their development. So like the developers of WeChat, they started I think in 2013, so not that long ago. In terms of developer standpoint. And when they started like providing these services, they provided these services like literally to like 1.3 billion of people. So like it's like tremendous like challenge what they have, like very tremendous. And like the problem of that is then they don't have that much resources than, for instance, Google can dedicate or Microsoft can dedicate to their API. So in the end, as a developer, what you realize is like sometimes you need to, like handle some format that are weird, like so for instance, you can start like communicating with the API using like a JSON that is like a standard of communicating data between like a service, and then in a moment like WeChat asks you like to send your answer in XML. That is the old the old JSON kind of, like so. And then you say like, why don't you not like do everything on JSON better than just like XML and JSON? So sometimes there's like some things that are kind of weird. So when you develop application, the encoding matter, right? So encoding is like the way your files are written. So encoding matter a lot when you deal with Chinese characters, because those one like need a specific encoding. And usually like the convention for developers is like using an encoding that is called like UTF-8. It's kind of like universal encoding. Yet WeChat is not using that. So sometimes it's just like everything should be working and you don't understand why. So you're like hitting your head against the wall during like a few hours to realize like your encoding is wrong because they're using a different encoding. So and so you will see like when we start using WeChat that when we communicate with WeChat, WeChat will give us feedbacks. Oh, it's good. I did the stuff. Oh, it's not good. And sometimes the grammar of the answer is like it's like in English because that's kind of the convention. It's kind of like there is like lots of grammar mistakes and the structure is weird. So sometimes you're just like I don't understand what you tell me, So, but anyway, like for me it's normal because like they are like very young and they have like tremendous challenge to do. And if you compare the time they developed to what they already did, I think they're doing like a great job. But still, right now it's like that. Second point is like the evolution of the API. So that's kind of the frustrating aspect that is like say by lots of professionals using like a WeChat API is we don't have a clear roadmap. So we don't know what they want to do. you don't know what they planned, and you don't know what they gonna discontinue as a functionality. So you can develop something, and then like one day it will not work because they discontinue the functionality and you didn't know that. So sometimes that happens, and that's kind of frustrating. And finally, like so when you're a developer, you want to have as much information as possible to be fast. Because when you have a problem, and that's actually like the goal of a developer is like solving problem fast. It's like you're always dealing with problem all the time. That's your job. So when you solve problem, when you want to deal with problems, you want to get as much information as possible. And as developers, the first tool we will use is called like debug. Debug is like giving you the feedbacks of what's happening. It's telling you like, oh, this is the very part that is broken. So that's one of the fundamental of a good developer is like having as much information as possible. So, and WeChat debug tools are sometimes like hard to use and scarce. So there's not so much stuff happening. So I'm saying that, but like since like 1 year, they did like improve considerably stuff, and now we have like many tools that allows us to work on that like much more easily. And sometimes development workflow can be complicated because WeChat development team and WeChat like more like philosophy is like protecting the user. So like they put a lot of emphasis on security. So that means like you need to sometimes, like do like 4 or 5 things to make something working, because like you need to exchange like token tickets, then like login, then logging on your WeChat, and then like give this authorization, blah blah, whitelist the server name, so all those stuff like take time, and in the end make the workflow of development sometimes hard. But we understand that because it's for like a good reason, for security. So some tips in terms of documentation of resource. So yeah, English documentation is a good start, but always rely on the Chinese website documentation. I will give the link. If you don't speak Chinese, like me, then like Google Translate is super useful actually. And it's not like literature, right? Like we're not like reading, like a book from a philosopher. We're reading like API documentation. So usually it's kind of like transparent. You understand what they say. Always double check the API specification evolution to make sure that what you want to build, especially if you're signing something with a client, is possible. Like it can happen like a lot, and that's very frustrating that you actually tell the client, oh yeah, we can do that. Oh, you realize, oh, we cannot do that because of some, specificities of the APIs or the functionalities. So that's very, very important. And yeah, developers usually like Google a lot to actually like find answers. That's the best way actually like to solve problem fast. First, like see if there is like some people that really have this problem. But there is like Google is like very bad at crawling Chinese resources. So don't rely on Google when you like find problem. Use Baidu. For developer tools, there is a lot of stuff happening, obviously, on the Chinese community. And for the debug, so make sure when you start working on, so we're gonna see the workflow a bit, but make sure always take time in the beginning of your development of like, just like install everything to have the best tools available and working fine. Otherwise, you will lose a lot of time not understanding what's happening, when you could have this information much more easily. And the last one is like if you develop for clients, just and if you're inside the company, just like ask for opening your own service account that you can access to the JS-SDK and all the official account functionalities. You can play with that. Also important. So before starting coding, some resources. So like those are all the resources I think that are important. So like that's gonna be inside the PDF. The PPT we're gonna all send you guys. That's like this part is very more. It's not for you like to write. It's more like I tell you that this is gonna be inside the PPT. And after like some requirements, if you want to develop like with the JS-SDK API, what you need, and what you need if you want to develop for the official account. So that's are the pre-requirements you need. make sure to have all those. So let's start coding. No, it was like more the introduction. So first, we're gonna like see a bit about like the JS-SDK. Like functionally speaking, what are we gonna do? We're gonna do like something that is asked a lot. That is like this sharing customization. And later we're gonna like improve the example, and we're gonna make like a QR code scanner. So that's the workflow we're gonna do for the QR code scanner. Yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna like stay a bit on this schema for you to understand it well. That's what's happening. So very complex in the beginning, but not that complex. So first things to see is like we have three parts. So we have like the WeChat server that's actually giving you access to all those functionalities. We have our own server when we're gonna store our code. So like our own, I say server, but we can use our computer, for instance. It's just like somewhere like we put our code, we serve our code. And then finally we have like the web page where like the client is actually like browsing your content. So that's the three parts that's gonna interact together for the JS-SDK. So now JS-SDK requires some informations that are private. So those informations, there's like the app ID and app secret. So those two are the login of WeChat API. That's like your username and password. That's exactly the same. So first you send that to the WeChat server. That's the first thing you're gonna do. And the WeChat server will check if they are correct. If they are correct, they say, okay, it's correct. Then I'm sending you back something that is called a token. So what is a token? A token is just a string of text that is sent you WeChat that is valid for a certain amount of time. So it's 2 hours. So during 2 hours, it's gonna send you back a token and say like, you can use this token. You don't need to log in anymore. It's like a cookie for a server. They're exactly the same. So you can now like use this token. Don't need to tell me that. I know. You know, like for 2 hours you're authorized. So once you have this token, you store this token during 2 hours on your computer or your server, and then you will ask something else to WeChat using your token. It's a ticket. So what's the difference between like the token and the ticket? It's more about like what's that? You know, like the token is more about who I am, making sure to say to WeChat, okay, I'm this person, this official account, I can access to your functionalities. The ticket is like, I have access to the functionality, I'm asking a ticket to use one of your functionality. So that's pretty much what's happening. So the ticket is also like valid for 2 hours. So yeah. So the first thing, if you see that, you can tell yourself that we can send those information directly without having a server. For those who know a bit about development, we can do directly that here. The problem is like the app secret is something, as the name states, secret, and you don't want to share that to people, because like if you put the app secret here, everybody that can go on your website can access to your code. So actually that's why you need to have a server, and as well you want to have a server because you need to store those information during 2 hours. Why? Because like those 2 calls you're gonna do to the WeChat server, those 2 calls are limited. So you can only do, that's the one I told you, like you can only do 2,000 calls per day. So that's the limit of this one. So for instance, if you have a campaign, like you are creating like an application, and you know this application will be accessed by more than 2,000 people per day, that means like the first 2,000 people, if you don't have a caching system, a system that stores your token, the 2,000 people will access your functionality, but the 2001 person and after will not access. So it's working on like small websites, but when you reach a certain amount of time of people, that is like done very fast in China, then it's not gonna work. So that's why you need to have all this system to work with that. And so once you have your tickets, then you can actually start doing some complex stuff. Not that complex actually. You can create a signature. So the signature is like what's is kind of saying like it's like a signature is created by several elements, and the signature will actually like tell to WeChat, I'm the right application and I'm asking the right stuff. So that's kind of like a security system they implemented. So the signature is used by actually like hashing. So hashing is like a security like system that is like taking a string, like string, and encoding it into like another string, right? So it's like it's hashing using like some parameters, the ticket. It's using as well other parameters that are like the timestamp. So the timestamp is like the time you the current time you are right now in seconds. Non-tester, that is like a generated randomly string, and a third one that is, I don't remember. We're gonna see that in the code. Anyway, so you generate from that like a signature that you're gonna put inside your web page, and then using like this, once you have like this signature, when the user is gonna load your page, and that's the critical moment, when the user is gonna load your page, then it's gonna do a call to WeChat server directly, and it's gonna say to WeChat server, here's my signature, can I access to the functionalities? And WeChat server on their side is gonna have as well the same calculation that you do here, and they're gonna do exactly the same, and they're gonna compare their signature with yours. If it's the right one, they say, okay, you can access. If it's not the right one, then they're gonna say, no, you cannot access. And usually it's on this moment, the signature generation, that's you're gonna spend like, I spend countless hours like comparing the signature because it's terrible. I don't know what was happening. So yeah, I'm gonna show you a bit how it's gonna work. So anyway, once it's working, then you can finally access to all the JS-SDK functionalities. So this schema is important because like that's maybe one of the most complex security schema on the WeChat API. If you master this one, you understand everything. The flow in the end, like fastly summed up, is like there's like 4 steps. First, you get a token. Once you get a token, then you get a ticket. Once you get a ticket, then you generate with some information the signature. You put the signature on your HTML page, and then like you compare, and then after you load the script, this one is done automatically. It's gonna compare the signature with WeChat servers. Once it's done, then you're ready to go for the WeChat. Simple. So that's the workflow. Okay. So we're gonna need to get the required informations. I'm gonna show you a bit inside like the backend of WeChat how to get those. But it's pre-installed on the information I really pre-installed on the code I gave you. To go faster, then we're gonna need to whitelist our domain name. So we'll explain you why. Then enable the sandbox account. I explain you why. Then develop, obviously, and then like deploy and test. So you're gonna go to the website mp.weishin.qq.com, and then here you can access to the backend. So that's the backend of our company. So here you write the information, then you click OK. Since 2 months, they added an extra layer of security. They like doing that. So like every 2 weeks, you have like a new layer of security. You need to scan the QR code. Only some like people can do that. Operator and administrator. So once you scan the QR code with your WeChat, then you access to the backend, and that's the backend of your official account. So you can do a lot of things. What is gonna really interest us is like the configuration. So first things is you want to get some very important information that are, as we said, the app ID and app secret. That is like your login and password. So for that, you go here on the developer informations, and the first item. I'm gonna. It's okay. And then here you're gonna see that like it's as well, all those informations are in one of the tutorial I referred in the PPT, and this tutorial is in English, so no problem about that. All the screens are written, so don't need to take screenshot and get crazy. So the app ID is here, so that's a screen of text, and the app secret is here. So as you see, like you cannot see the app secret right now because it's secret and they don't want everybody on the backend to access it. You can regenerate it if you lost it, but usually you can only read it 1 time. So then you store it somewhere unsecured. That's another security. So that's the information you will need for the JS-SDK. So pretty much it. So the second thing you want to do is, after doing that, is not using those information you got directly. Why? Because that's the live account. Especially if you work for clients, you don't want, if this client has lots of people, you don't want them to see your tests. You're gonna break your client relationship. So what you're gonna do is use like a testing account, and they did a very nice job doing that. So if you go on the second item on the developer tools, that is in the end of the official account, you will have like several tools, and that's the fourth one that is useful. Is called like the sandbox. So I already generated the sandbox, but what's happening is just like you need to scan again a QR code. It's generate some information. So what it's gonna do in the end is like what I ask you to scan is like it's gonna create a fake official account when you're gonna try be able to test all the JS-SDK functionality and all the official account functionalities without live. So you won't be afraid of like breaking something. Like everything will be good. And once you go to this backend page of the sandbox, then you see like some information, the app ID and app secret. This time the app secret is in clear because like you don't care, it's a testing account. This one will be, we're gonna see that later, is for the official account. This one is important. So WeChat, when they communicate, if we come back to this slide, when they communicate to this page is like one of your web page, right? Like for instance, like myawesomewebsite.cm, right? So WeChat is only gonna allow to communicate with a certain domain name that are whitelisted. If let's say like I have another website that is called like mygreatwebsite.cm that is not whitelisted, then WeChat will say no, I don't want to communicate with you, it's not secured. I'm only gonna communicate with like pre-validated ICP domain name. So my awesome website.cm. So how to tell WeChat those are the validated one? That's inside the sandbox account. So we're gonna see that in the normal one. So like for the live server, it's like inside this one and here. Here you're gonna have like your domain name validated. Yeah, up to 3 domain name. So for those domain name to work, you will need to have for those domain to work, you need to have like the ICP. So this one needs to be ICP validated. That's very important. That means pre-validated by the government, and WeChat will gonna check actually. Once you enter them, it's gonna tell you no, it's not working because this one is not validated. And second stuff, you're gonna need to that's simple like security procedure. They're just gonna like validate that you own the domain name by just installing a small file on the server, and it's gonna be good. Okay, so let's go. So we set up everything. As you see, we set up like we got all the information we needed. We know everything like where to get information inside the backend to get started. And the most important is we have access to a sandbox account. We can start messing up with the code with that. So as you see on the testing backend, I can see so like those two informations, and I also can see like all the people that subscribed here. So that's pretty much like everybody on the workshop. Is there like some people that didn't subscribe on the testing account? I think everybody, no? It's good. Okay. Here's like something that is like kind of advanced. We're not gonna explain that. And this is like the API, all the calls available, and if they are limited or not. So some API calls, as you see, like the access token one, are limited to 2,000 per day. Yeah, I'm gonna also show you on the backend on WeChat where all those numbers, because those are very useful. Where is it? This one, yeah. So you can see like inside the backend, the last item of the developer tools, you can see the list of all the calls of your official accounts. So we can see that right now, today, with our official account, there is already 32 calls out of 2,000. So we still have space. That's okay. Yeah, so let's start coding right now. So we have like the two information we need is like app ID and app secret. Those are really pre-installed inside the files I gave you. So let's start coding right now. So what I did is I go to this one, the Wagon. So actually, it's not this one. I already installed like the repository on my okay, so I already installed the repository on my computer. So yeah, this is the code that is on GitHub that we're gonna explore together. The first one is like JS-SDK. So let's all go on this one. So the first thing I'm gonna ask you is like start with your WAMP and MOMP and access to those files on WAMP and MOMP. So how to do that is like you have on WAMP and MOMP you have like a folder that is actually the root of so WAMP and MOMP. What's that? It's like a server emulator on your computer. So it's like actually like emulating a server. So this server is gonna get some files that are backend files and front-end HTML, CSS, JavaScript from one folder. So on my computer, like this folder is like at this address. So it's like depends of the computer. So drag and drop the GitHub repository or like the source you just downloaded inside you know, like a subfolder. It's called like lewagon dash WeChat.intro. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna access to it by typing on my computer localhost 2. Localhost means like I'm talking to my computer 8888. That is like a common port. And then after like the name of my subfolder. So like this is this one. And then I'm gonna access directly to the JS-SDK one, so the subfolder. So that's the way actually to run your code. Right now, is it okay? Everybody? Are we all good? Okay.
Let's go ahead.
Okay, let's go ahead first. So what we want to do is like getting the sending the app ID, app secret, getting a token back, sending the token, ticket, generating the signature. So we're gonna concentrate on this part, and we're gonna use like a file that's called like JS-SDK.php that is inside the code. So if you go here, you can see like that's actually like the folder we have. So the first thing we want to do, just to show you, I'm gonna give you like the code bit by bit. So you want to delete index.php, just delete it, and we're gonna do it like from scratch. Bigger, this one, like that. It's good. So so we're gonna delete index.php and we're gonna recreate it from scratch. So I'm deleting it. And I'm gonna create it. Okay. So everybody deleted it? Okay, great. So what we're gonna start is like we're gonna create a new file that is called like index.php. So index.php. So oh no, I don't want to buy. Okay. So what we want to do, so a PHP is actually like a PHP is a backend language that's gonna generate an HTML page. So the first things we want to do, as we saw on this one, is actually like doing all this process with the WeChat server, right? Like so, for that we're gonna call like another PHP file that is called like JS-SDK.php. So like all the parts of the login is gonna handle by someone else. It's for separation of the code. And like so, like this is like a class. So we're not explain that. We're not gonna explain that. Just like remind that that's a big function that's gonna process all the stuff for us. And inside we just give two parameters that are like our app ID and app secret. So it's gonna take this information and we're gonna like ask him to giving back the signature. That's all we're gonna ask him. So we're gonna do all the index.php part, and I think that's gonna be enough for you. And I'm just gonna describe what's inside the JS-SDK.php. So JS-SDK.php is actually like a file that is provided. It's an example that is provided by WeChat. So I'm gonna describe it. Just like remember what he's gonna do is just like gonna do like all this work, nifty work for us. We just need to take the signature in the end. It's like a black box, right? Like this one's a black box that we're gonna explain. In the end, we're gonna get the signature. That's all what we want, and after we can start like playing with the JS-SDK. First is what's gonna happen is like how this process is handled. So as we said before, like we need to store this stuff during like 2 hours because like the calls are limited. So for that, to store on the website, on the web server, you need to use like a database technology or like a file to store the data. So either we use like the most common database technology is called like MySQL, but we're not gonna use that because it's gonna increase the complexity of our solution and complexity of problem of setup. So we're gonna go for a much easier solution. We're just gonna write a simple file with the information inside. Simple that, you know. So we're gonna use like a format that is called like JSON. That's a way of storing information. So we're gonna just like ask him and send back the token, store the token with the time it was actually called, that we can check if like 2 hours later on after if we need to renew it or if we need to actually like keep the same. So this code I'm just gonna describe you. We're not gonna like write it together. So just to know like who is familiar with class here, classes. That might be a bit like frightening code, but just to tell you is a way of organizing code. And beyond what's important is not like the way it's organized, it's more like the code itself, and the code itself is kind of simple. So the class is like, first this part is say like, okay, I'm gonna take the first information you're gonna give me, that is this one, and the second information you give me, that is this one, and I'm gonna store it for later. So that's the first thing. I'm gonna remove this one. Okay, great. And this one is this one. Okay, I'm gonna store it. I'm gonna take your app ID and app secret and store it. And after, what I'm gonna do is like, after, that's all. Actually, it's just storing that, you know. So I'm just telling him like, okay, create a new class and store those 2 information. That's all. That's the first thing he's gonna do. The second thing is like, I'm gonna call a function. So calling a function is just telling the code to do something. So I'm gonna call a function that is called a getSignPackage. So if I go to JS-SDK, I'm trying to find the function getSignPackage is this one. So inside this one, we see that like the first line is get JS API ticket, and it's like something. It should trigger you something. It's actually this one. It say like, please give me like the ticket, the current ticket. So we're gonna see like it's gonna call this function inside another function. So let's see like what this function is doing, because that's the first function is doing first. So getSignPackage is here. So let's see what this function is doing. So getSignPackage is like very easy. It's gonna data is a function that is gonna get its content from a file that is called like JS API JSON ticket.json. So that's a file inside your computer that is gonna do that. What it's gonna do is like it's gonna get its content and it's gonna decode the JSON. So let's see if you see like nearby the JS-SDK PHP, there is like a file that is called like JS API dash ticket. So if we click here, we see that this file is actually like including like inside this file there is like there's a JSON, and inside the JSON there is 2 information. There is like the ticket that is a long string, and there is like the expiration time that is important because like we want to renew this one every 2 hours. If we fail to renew this one, then like the ticket will get expired, and in WeChat we say like, oh, you want to communicate with me with a wrong ticket, I do not agree. So he's taking those data and he's like trying to see if this data is expired or not. So if like the expiring time is it after time, the function time that is giving the current time. So if it's after the current time, that means like the token is expired. So you need to take another token. So in this case, then actually, if we need to get a new token, a new ticket, that means we need to get a new token. Remember this one, right? The ticket needs a new token. So inside the function JS API ticket is gonna call another function that is like get access token, right? It's always change every 2 hours. So ticket and token are changing every 2 hours, right? So to sum up a bit, what's happening is like we ask the sign package directly. The sign package is calling, give me the ticket. The ticket is coming back to another function telling like, give me the token. Okay. So ticket is here, and now we're gonna go to the token function that is here. That's pretty much it actually. So if you see the code of those two functions, get access token and get JavaScript tickets, it's almost the same. Only the name change. Why? Because like we're doing very similar stuff. So if we go to access token, then it's gonna do exactly the same code than we did on the ticket. It's gonna decode a file that is called access-token.json. And if you go inside access-token.json, you see like the access token is like exactly is exactly the same style than the tickets. Those two looks like a lot together, and like as well in the end there's like an expire time. So you see like the code is very similar. So then if and that's the interesting thing. So like once more, if the token is expired, then I'm gonna call the WeChat API website, this one, and I'm gonna ask him, please give me the code. So this is actually like the call you're gonna need to do. So HTTPS API WeChat token grant access, and then here, as you see, I'm gonna give to WeChat, I'm gonna give like 2 parameters: the app ID and the app secret. And so once it's done, then I'm gonna decode what he gave me, because he gave me that in a specific format. And from what he gave me, I'm just gonna take the access token. That's this line of code. Then I'm gonna check if the access token actually exists. If it's not an empty string, if it exists, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the current time of today, and I'm gonna add 7,000. Actually, I think it's more than 2 hours. It's like 7,000 seconds. So I'm gonna take the current time and I'm gonna add 7,000 seconds. That is the time where like the token will be validated. So it's like 3 hours, 4 hours, something like that. Then I'm gonna say I'm gonna store access token as well inside another variable, and then those 3 functions are just here to open a file inside my computer, write inside the file and close the file. So what it's gonna do here is like it's gonna open the access-token.json file, it's gonna write inside all the data I got, that is like the expire time and access token, and it's gonna close the files. That's how you write a file using PHP. Okay. So so get access token. Once you do that, on both case, either like it's expired or like the token is not expired, on both case it's gonna return a variable that is called like access token. So it's gonna return this variable to anybody that calls this function, right? So, and who called this function before access token? That was get JS API ticket that called him. So it's here. So it's gonna return the access token that we just did. So you see the code before was very smart, because like the code checked if that the token was expired or not, If the token was expired, it will call the API to get a new one, and if it's not expired, then it's gonna give it back anyway. So in one line of code, you did all those informations, right? And in the end, it's just returning like one code. So once it's good, like remember, now we are on the ticket functions. So it's exactly the same principle. So if the ticket actually is expired, then we're gonna call exactly a similar URL to say WeChat, oh, please give me a new ticket because mine is expired. So as you see, like the URL is this one, and it's very similar URL actually. And after we're gonna call it and get the informations back. And like the code is very similar to this code is very similar to what we had before. It's just like actually checking if there is a ticket and writing it inside the file. That's pretty much it. And in the end, is returning a ticket. So there's a function here. Yeah.
What is the res variable?
Oh, res is result. Actually, result. Yeah, result. Is good for you? So yeah, that's actually the point I wanted to say. Is like, is this function, like this function, behind this function hides the function that's gonna call the API. So we're gonna see that in details right now. It's gonna decoding a call of another function that is called like HTTP get. As the name suggests, HTTP get is gonna actually like getting, you know, like a request, like if you browse Baidu on your computer. So if we go on HTTP get and try to look for HTTP get function inside the class, we see there is one here. That's a function. And this function, what it's doing is very simple. You give him an URL and it's giving you back the content. That's all it's doing, right? So it's using like a library that is called curl. So curl is like a way of doing that. It's just like a library that calls websites and return the content. So those are options that kind of like advanced, but you need those options to make it working. And then you say to curl, please execute the URL, execute curl, give me back the content of the URL. So it's going to execute it, results. It's going to close the connection. Anyway, it's going to take the content, and then it's going to give you back the content. Is it more clear now? Yeah, I think it's... so yeah. So once we get the ticket, exactly the same, right? Like we're gonna store it inside our JSON and check if it's like expired or not. So those two functions are doing that automatically. That's very clean. That's very nice. And so after we're gonna come back. You remember, like we had we got this function that's called like get sign package, get ticket, get token. So get token is done, get ticket is done. Now we're gonna come back to the first function that we called in the beginning, get sign package. So get sign package, now we have the tickets. And after what is doing like this function, this one is not that useful actually, but what is doing like the get sign package is like generating the signature. So the signature, as I told you before, there is several elements. It's gonna take the ticket, it's gonna take the URL, it's gonna take the timestamp and the non-sester. So the ticket is the ticket we just got. The URL is actually something that you're gonna here. It's like a pretty interesting stuff. Is like what we did here is like it's gonna the servers know the URL the user is accessing. Let's say like the user is accessing the URL like myawesomewebsite.cn. Then it's gonna get this URL and here it's gonna store it here inside the variable called URL. So that's two parameters. Third one is like timestamp, and fourth one timestamp. So the timestamp is like the current time, and the fourth one is like actually non-sester, that is like a generating a random string. So if you see like generate non-sester here, is like the function is here, and you can see like it's actually like generating a string accordingly. And once you get like all those four informations, you're gonna create a string with all those four parameters. So that's this variable is doing that, and that's actually the encryption function we called about. That's only 4 letters. That is called like SHA-1, and it's gonna encrypt hash the string to make sure like it's not clear information, it's hashed information. And this string and this signature, you're gonna like send it back to the server. That's all. We did everything. So is there like some, if you understand that and the code, you understand like I say 80% of the workshop that you need. So the 4 parameters are, so the ticket, actually it's inside the code, you can see that, it's here. Is like it's taking the ticket, it's taking like a generated string, random string, it's taking the timestamp, and it's taking the URL. So once you did that, and that's like the biggest work, you don't need to know exactly how to do that. They provided what is called SDK, so software development kit for that. So that's a layer that take care about all these parts. What you do is just doing your code. So yeah, so in the end, you see like it's gonna send back, this function is gonna send back very interesting information that we're gonna use on our front end, that is here, right? So we're gonna, it's gonna send back the app ID, it's okay, it's not secret. It's gonna send back like the ancestor, the timestamp, the URL, the signature, and row sign. So like this one actually is like the non-encrypted informations, but we're not gonna use it, so it's not gonna be visible on the front end. So once we did that, it's very simple. We're gonna write those 4 lines that's gonna do all this work for us. You know, like we don't need to care about that. That's the point, right? Like so, the first line is like we're gonna call this PHP file because we want this PHP file to do stuff for us. We're gonna initialize the class with the 2 information, and we're gonna just call the function sign package, and in the end we're gonna come back. We're gonna get back this array. Right now, what we have is like we got all the information we needed to start developing. So what we're gonna do is like creating a simple web page on HTML. So I'm gonna like copy this code. WeChat test. Okay. We don't need this one, and I'm gonna pass you that. And we're gonna h1 WeChat test. Okay. Save that. We reload the page, and we see like we have something appearing on the screen. So please put that on your index.php. So we have everything set up. Now we just need to add, we have like a HTML page, we have all the information needed. Now we need to have like the JavaScript code. So JS-SDK it's called like it's like as I said before, JavaScript software development kit, and JavaScript is like a front-end language. So what we're gonna do is just like add some scripts. So the first script we're gonna do is like we're gonna add on the bottom of the body, I think it's inside the body, this script. Okay, and I think it's missing the library. I think it's missing this one. Okay, yeah, that's good. It's missing the library. How to do that? Chat JS-SDK JS. Um, 1.0.0. This one. So we need to call from WeChat. We need to call like a script inside that is like gonna be taken by WeChat. Okay, so that's good. Okay. Script. So what we're gonna do right now is like doing this part. So we're gonna communicate with the server, send the signature, and that WeChat allow us to actually access the functionalities first. And second, we're gonna actually like make those functionality working. So how to do that is like how to communicate with the server, right? How to do like this arrow. Then it's just like the role of this guy. This guy is just like communicating with WeChat servers, and second role of this guy is actually like making all those functionality working. So this guy needs to have information. So we're giving him this information. First, there's an object that is called like WX that is given by this script, and we're gonna configure it. So there's some parameters. First, like debug that we put to false, but we can put it to true because it's gonna give us like more information. And then we're gonna give him the app ID, and as you see, like that's PHP code that's gonna get the JS-SDK information app ID here and inject that, write that inside our JavaScript. Same for timestamp, same for non-ancestor, and same for signature. That is the most important stuff. And behind, like the last one, is like JS API list that is actually telling WeChat what functionality we want. You know, we need to say that. So here I said like I wanted like 3 functionality: the QR code scanner, I wanted the custom menu sharing information, and the menu sharing on app message. I'm gonna show you what's that. So once we do that, then we reload our page and we make sure like everything is working correctly. It's here. Okay, so we enter inside WeChat console. So it's like F12, it's like developer tools. Do that. No, I don't want to do that. Okay. And I'm gonna do like a website view. So we just check the console to see if there is any errors. The console allows us to get those information. There is no errors, so it looks like everything is loaded correctly. Let's see on networks. Is it getting, yeah, is like loading our script here, so that's good. So everything is working fine. Let's go on the backend, on the source code to see like what's happening. As you see, like you have exactly the same code than on the backend. The only difference is like you're gonna have those information that gonna be generated. You see, like the signature is here, all this information are here. So now it's coming like the truth moment of seeing like if it's working or not, and usually the first time it's not working, and not even like the first time, like lots of time. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna use those functionalities. So the first things is just check if it's working or not. As you see, if we reload our browser, nothing happened. Why? Because like JS-SDK WeChat is only working inside WeChat browser. That's where I told that like it's actually very hard to debug because like tools like Chrome is not working for that. So like 1.5 years ago when I was starting developing that, I had no other tools than my phones, and like just to like debug stuff, that was horrible, that was terrible. So now like they put a very nice tool that is called, that the tool I asked you to download, that is called like the web inspector, the WeChat web inspector, that's gonna like emulate a WeChat browser. So once you are on this one, it's very simple. You take the URL on Chrome and you put that inside here, the debugger. So you do that and you load it. You see like it's exactly the same. It's emulating the front, and you see like there is an error. So let's see like where the error is going from. Why there is an error? Okay, it's just like it didn't find like the an icon. So that's not that important. So the most important stuff and interesting is like this second tab, JS-SDK, is gonna give you like the logs of how we communicate with WeChat. This is critical information. So now let's add a chunk of code that we're gonna use to actually like manipulate, like use those functionality. Now we logged, we gave all the information on WeChat. So now let's use the functionality. So here I'm gonna take this part and I'm gonna paste it inside I'm gonna paste it inside the script. So I'm just gonna check that. So the first line is like, oh, when the object WX is ready, then start this code. You don't want to start the code before WeChat is all initialized. And after inside we put an alert to make sure everything is working fine, and then we call some functionalities, and the functionality we're gonna call, and all is inside the WeChat documentation. I'm gonna show you the documentation here. it's inside the PDF, the PPT. I'm just gonna show you here how it looks like and how you can actually like go inside. The JS-SDK one is here. Chinese documentation. I click to follow the link. Yeah. So everything is explained here. They have a very nice stuff. So that's not the JS-SDK. Let me check. It's here. On this page here you have like all the explanations, and for non-Chinese speaker you just like use Google Translate and magically all the information become English. That's awesome. So okay, so now that we can customize the system, let's try to add like our custom title. So let's say like a hello world, description, I'm a description, link, the link we have, but we can tap any kind of links like baidu.com. Image URL, so I put like an image inside like the folder image with a S, squared image.php. So here the image needs to be on a specific format, squared, need to be squared to appear well, otherwise it's gonna appear weirdly, image.png, and type data URL, I don't know. Anyway, and here success, we're gonna put I shared, no, the function, no, you shared successfully the link, why you did not share my link. Okay, so let's try this code. I'm gonna first like see if it's working on my side, and once it's working, then I'm gonna give it to you, because it's on this critical moment that everything break. So here looks like everything is working. Yeah, I have no alert, so I should have an alert. So let's try to see why. That's the joy of live coding. Hello. Oh, okay, yeah.
Everything is good.
Yeah.
You have to close this tag.
I think it's like a bad writing of my scripts. So page source. SRC. Okay, yeah. This one. I'm missing this one. Bad. Okay. So let's come back. Whoa! Hello! I'm fabulous and ready. Nice. Thanks. Okay, so I'm removing this stuff. And let's go inside our browser and see what's happening. And you see here, and that's the weird part I told you. Like right now, he's telling me like that's WeChat that is giving me back the information. He's telling me configuration okay. The weird stuff is like he's telling me a string, and inside the string the name is called error message. So the error message is telling me like everything is okay. Right. So I got a developer like yesterday, just for me. I don't know. I always get errors, and he showed me the errors, and he was like, "Oh yeah, no, that's okay." Okay. So that's kind of confusing. Yeah.
To say that it's fine.
So yeah.
Fair enough.
So the error once, if you're on WeChat, I'm very impressed by myself because it worked the first time. When you're developing on WeChat, when you see errors message, okay, it's like you growl. You're just like, yeah, I made it working after like 3 days. So that's pretty much like how you code. But let's see if I modify a bit some information what's happening, and you're gonna be on this case a lot. So let's see, like I'm modifying like the string we are encoding, and I'm putting like some random characters here. Let's say here, and let's say what it's giving. So I made the signature wrongly, and you see invalid signature. That's the most viewed message you will see, and it's very frustrating. Anyway, so on this part it means it's not working, so here it's working. Oof. I think he triggered me an error. somewhere. Yeah, here. Okay. So once configuration is okay, then you can see you have two ways of seeing like the informations. The first way is debug. Debug is giving you an alert, but that's kind of like a primer stuff to do. And you have the more advanced is like this interface that allows you to see on the JS-SDK exactly what's happening. So here you see all the configuration info. That's very useful to see if there is a problem. And here you can see like the function we asked that is like menu share app message is working, right? So let's see how it goes. So if we want to share this page, we can click here, it's simulating the stuff, and then like we share that to a friend. And you see here that, like you say once more, like, okay, you did that. And you see like, hello world, I'm a description, and my image that is broken, I don't know why. And once you click one of those options, then you have a callback. Here you can see that the callback is like you share successfully the link. And if I do that, you can be very annoying with people that doesn't share your link. Then you can actually, do that as well. That's the basics. So I'm just gonna show you, and it's gonna be like the end of JS-SDK, and you will see like the official account. It's gonna take like a lot of things we just learned now. I'm just gonna show you how to create a scanner, QR code scanner, very easily. So QR code. I'm just going to show you how I use myself as a foreigner the documentation to find the information I want. I think that's very important for you to see like how it's working. So I'm just like looking for inside the page I just translated using Google Translate like QR codes, and I see here that I have the documentations on QR code scanner. Okay, so here I see, okay, great. So that's the functionality. Okay, so here's the code. Okay, so that's the code that is triggering this stuff. So let's try putting this code on our script. Once more, we put this code inside. We put this code inside our ready functions because like we need to wait the time is ready. We delete the comments. Okay. And we're gonna do like alerts and JSON stringify. Yes. Okay. And I'm gonna put a set timeout. So like this function, you can like call it, for instance, when you click on a button. But here I'm just gonna make I'm just gonna trigger that 3 seconds after the page is loaded. But it's very easy as well to to obviously put that when you touch a button. So let's write this code. Right now I didn't tested it. I'm just gonna it's out from the documentation, very raw. Let's see if it's working. I'm sure it's not gonna work, but let's see. So it tells me there is an error. Not even. Tuk. Which this came from? Yeah, there's a problem. I think I'm just gonna come back on my. Here I can see on Chrome I have an error missing after argument list. So there's a syntax error. Okay, that's a syntax error. Okay, let's try again. Still some error. Why? Unexpected token. Oh, okay. Okay. Just like not. Just like that. Okay. Okay, no error anymore. So let's check this code on WeChat browser right now. Is ready. We wait 3 seconds. And something happened. There is an error again. That's the way actually, like that's how you debug. Like the most important is going fast. So it tells me like WX is not defined because it's it's because there is like uppercase. That's like the job of the developer. That's awesome. I love this job. Actually I love it. Just getting information fast and react fast, And you see here, oh, that worked, right? So, but you didn't see because like it's like the emulation, so it's not actually like opening you the QR code scanner. How can I show you that? So, just is working, trust me. But I can show you on the official demo that is also like a resource I gave you inside the PPT, how it looks like, and it's very cool. So they released an official demo where they put all the functionalities, and you can test that. That's very cool to actually like know what functionalities are available from the JS-SDK and how to use them, because all the code is inside this page, and they did a great job on that. So I'm gonna take, for instance, like I'm gonna touch the button scan QR code here, and now I can scan QR code. You know, that's pretty cool. That's inside the web page. So one functionality I wanted to show you before like going to the official account API is like WeChat Pay. So this is a pure, simple HTML page. So if you know HTML, you know you can actually do like sell your own product using WeChat. I mean, yeah. So you click on that, and paf, you see like there is like the small icon on WeChat Pay telling like it's working. There is no product right now to sell, so there is not the cool interface working. But I think it's pretty cool to enhance like a web page with those functionalities. So yeah, that's everything for JS-SDK. The next part is gonna be like much faster. So yeah. So first, let's go for the API. So the goal right now is like not communicating for a page and like having superpower for a web page. It's like creating super cool stuff with your official account, like bots, like advanced functionalities. So first, it's important to understand how it's working. So there's two ways of interaction with an official account, because an official account is a chat-based experience. So a chat-based experience means like you can send him something, you can ask, you know, so you can send picture, message on an official account, and the official account will react to what you just did, right? Like it will give you an answer. The second flow, API flow, and those are different. It's like you're gonna do an action without the user did something before. So it's not reaction; it's like direct action. So those two have a different workflow, and we're gonna just explore the direct action one that is more simple than the reaction one, because like reaction one, like they put like an extra layer of security, and so like it's kind of complicated. So let's explain the direct action one. So as you see, like it's very like similar to like JS-SDK workflow. We send the API app secret exactly like JS-SDK. It's giving back a token, like okay, you're logged, and this is your token. Use it during 2 hours, and then we don't even need to have a ticket anymore. We just send directly our call to the API. So let's say we take an example. I want to you all subscribe to an official account, to the test official account. I want to send you a marketing message saying like, oh, I have a new product, you know. So so I want to just send you a simple message with a link. So I'm just gonna use like this workflow, and I'm gonna call an API, say like, hey, like here's my new product. WeChat will process it and will push that on the user chat with the official account. That's all. Reaction is a bit more complicated, so we're not gonna like code it today, but I just want to show you that. Reaction is like the user is like sending, you know, message to WeChat. Oh, what are your products? Or like, is your, you know, like a shop closed at this hour? I want to have a brunch, blah blah blah. So he's sending you the message to the official account that is gonna go to the WeChat server. Then the WeChat server is gonna send you the information and say like, oh, what should I do with that? And then you're gonna send him an answer according to the custom code here. So here, imagine you can have people behind, you can have AI, you can have like keywords, you can have everything you want, and that's very, very exciting stuff. That's where actually you can actually like call an API from, you know, AQICN, get the AQI and send that back to the user. So you can really like even like have applicational stuff inside. And then after like WeChat relay that. But here I'm just gonna present you that. So WeChat here is adding for this reaction things, they added like a layer of security. So when you start developing with the reaction, like API flow, you need to be whitelisted by the WeChat server, right? So that's exactly the same like whitelisting system for the domain name, but this one is for the server. So how it's going to happen, technically speaking, is very simple. The first time you communicate with the WeChat server will send you like questions like, are you the right server? And you need to ask him, send him back a very precise information that is a token as well. So it's like a length of text. And so if you send the right length of text, they say, okay, then you're right, I can communicate with you. Right? So that's the first thing that's only done one time. And then after you can communicate directly with the server. So yeah, that was just for the stuff. So let's go and code. It's gonna be like much more easier and faster because there won't be all this mess of tools needed and everything. So let's go. So if you go inside like the folder, so there is like two folders. There's like one JS-SDK, two OA, right? So OA, there is like only the code is like much more easier. There is no class, so I'm gonna explain that. I think I'm just gonna do like a copy and paste of block. I think it's better, right? So let's put that again. No. Okay. So I'm gonna start from scratch. Okay. So first, what we need to do, as we said before, again here, we're gonna go on this stuff. We need to send an API and app secret to get a token back, right? So that's my first part of the code. Is this one? So I'm just gonna copy that. For backend developers, just like they know, like PHP means like I'm gonna write PHP code, and I'm just defining two variable, app ID, app secret, right? That's exactly the same that the testing account. So after I do that, then I want to get the access token, right? So I want to do this call. So I wrote this function here that is very, very similar to what we saw before. So you see like it's exactly the same code. So I'm gonna take a JSON file. Oh yeah, one point about the JSON file. Usually on production environments, you don't want to store like those information on the JSON for two reasons. The first one is like accessing and reading a file on the backend side using JSON is not that efficient compared to database. Databases are really optimized to do that. So when there is like 2 users, it's okay. But when you have like, I don't know, 1 million users, like every day, you're gonna start to make a difference. Second, and the second reason is like it's not secured at all. So like right now, if I'm a hacker, I think I mean like very basic hacker, I'm gonna go on let's say like here, and I'm gonna just like try to access to those informations, right? Like that I shouldn't access. So here I see that it's called like JSON ticket dot, JSON API ticket. If I click here, oh, I get it, and I'm on the front end, so that's bad, like then I can start doing that with that. So anyway, that's just for demonstration purpose. Don't do that on production, but it's more easier because otherwise like setting a database is kind of so yeah, so I'm taking like the data and I'm checking some stuff. So exactly the same. Is it expired? So if it's expired, then I'm gonna do a call to this function that is exactly the same than like what we saw before. So no need to explain that. Then I'm gonna do a function that's called like HTTP GET. As you see, like that's almost the same function than we saw before. And I'm gonna return the access. If inside this answer there is an access token, then I'm gonna set up an expiring time, 7,000 seconds after, and I'm gonna put like the access token inside like these objects, and then I'm gonna write all these objects inside this file, like access token.json, right? Exactly the same, very easy. So as you see, there is like 2 variables right now that I just did. I used. There is like the not variable, like function. There is like the function logger and there's like the function HTTP GET. So HTTP GET, you already know what's that. It's just a function to communicate with the servers. So I kind of like modify this function. So I'm gonna add this function here. I kind of modify this function because it's not a simple access. You know, like when you're gonna communicate with the official account of WeChat, you don't want only to send very basic information like app ID, app secret. You want to send sometimes very, very complex informations like a menu structure, or I don't know, like a long message, or you know, other stuff, or even like image you want to upload. So I modified a bit the function, so there is still the URL part, but there's also like a post data. So that's a variable where you will pass all your data inside your requests. So post is just a way to actually like give data to another website. So the same functions like curl, and then like if there is like data, if there is like some post data, then I'm gonna encode it using JSON. That is like a standard format to communicate datas. I'm gonna use like another function I'm gonna describe later, and then actually I'm gonna configure the curl call and put inside like one of these parameters my datas, and then I'm gonna execute it. Pretty much it. So there's another function that is called logger, and that is very, very important, and I advise all the developers to use this kind of stuff. That's a time saver. It's just a very simple function that's gonna that's gonna write inside a file what you are doing, you know, and all the answer and stuff you are doing. So I'm gonna add it here. So it's very, very simple question, like functions. This function is like, it's just a string that you pass inside, and what it's gonna do is just gonna add a date and concatenate the date and your string you want to pass and write it in a log.txt files. So why is it important is like, especially communicating with servers, you don't have direct feedback. As you saw like on the JS-SDK, the direct feedback for me was like, oh, there is an error, so something is wrong in my code. But here is like the logs are gonna be much more harder to get directly. There is not gonna be like a visual feedback. So that's gonna be your feedback. And that's what's happening. So you see, like, that's when I started developing the stuff. That's all my log. Okay, so I created like this logger function, HTTP GET function with like a data call, and we are ready to go. So you can delete the index.php and just like do that again. So there is like 4 cool functionality I'm gonna show you, and just like I really want to demonstrate you like how powerful it is and cool it is. Okay, so now let's do the code. So first function we're gonna do is QR code. So that's a very like a common like a request from clients and people that manage official accounts, is generating QR code that can that have specific information for the developer. So that means like when you scan this QR code, then you're gonna be redirected to the official account, and inside there will be an information for the developer. So let's see, like you are inside an event and you're scanning a specific QR code, and behind the people want to know exactly where you scan the QR code. So they're gonna put inside the information room 1, you know. They scan the QR code, and then the QR code will send you like to the official account, and the developer will receive that you just you just scanned the QR code inside the room 1. Very useful for lots of marketing use. So let's do it. It's very simple. So the first things we want to do is just like get our access token. So we just no, that's not this one. This one is printing. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna explain you this code. So the first one is like we're just gonna put inside the variable called like access token. I should zoom it a bit. Access token, we just get the access token. You know, like that's the functions we had before. After, we're gonna call this URL. So you're gonna tell me, but how can you actually like find this URL? So once more, everything is described in the documentation. That is very well done. So I'm gonna just show you how I access to that. I just went to mp.qq.com/wiki, and then after I was looking for, there's like lots of stuff here. Oh, cool. Yeah, this one exactly. So we go on this one, and then we have all the documentations, and as you see, they say the URL, what you need to do, that's exactly the code we're doing. So QR code creates access token here, right? And then inside they tell you like what is the kind of information you need to pass, you know, otherwise they will refuse. So that's here, and after they explain exactly what are those information. So that's the documentation is the keystone corner as everything, as usual, to get this information. And they send you the results if it's going well. So let's try that. So we're gonna be here, we put exactly our code, we put our access token here, and then I really wrote the code. So like I took the example here, and I just did it myself, right? So the small difference is like here I created some PHP arrays that I'm gonna convert later in JSON to have like a clearer like view of the stuff, and as well yeah, to be able to manipulate the array easier. Expire seconds, so like there's two kind of QR code. There is like the temporary QR code that are only available for certain seconds, and like full-time QR codes. I mean like that are only always working. Then the action name, so that's what are we doing inside the QR code. We're gonna add what they call a scene. A scene is actually the information you're gonna pass. And then here is like the information, so like we pass inside the scene ID, and that's this information that's gonna be passed. So here, for instance, you can do like a room 1, you know, for instance. So let's do that. That's all the code you need. So let's do it. And here in the end, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a call to the WeChat API with the URL and the data we just did before. And if you go inside the HTTP GET function, you see that I'm actually encoding my array from PHP to JSON. So no problem from this guy. That's the weird part. I want to warn you. Is like usually like the standard is like when you send JSON information. It needs to be in UTF-8. Chinese character, like in UTF-8, doesn't look like Chinese character. They look like weird stuff, entities. The goal behind it is like any system, any encoding can actually take those weird information and recreate like Chinese character without, you know, losing information. But WeChat is awesome because like they're using JSON to send data, but they want us to send inside the JSON like like Chinese character that is not conventional. And when you use this function is in PHP, it's encoding for you because it's assuming that you want to encode all the information. So that's a non-standard stuff again that is very painful. Like it took me like 5 hours to realize that and work on that. So that's part of the pain of using WeChat. But anyway, so let's try our code. Like, so we go inside like our where is it? Like our browser again. This time we don't need to have like JS-SDK debugger. We can do that directly. That. So and then I'm typing like OA, and directly understand that it's gonna go to the index.php page. So let's go. Okay. Oh no! Actually, it's working. Yeah, it's working. So. You see here, he gave me back a ticket, so I guess he's telling me, okay, this is working. Expiring second, so like this QR code is gonna work for X second, and he's giving me back what we want, the URL. So you tell me, like, he didn't give me back a QR code, right? Because like a QR code is what in the end? A QR code is just a URL information that is like transcribed inside the visual information. So if we go and pass that on the browser, let's try to see. It's not working. Why? Because like those are very specific stuff. So if you pass that on WeChat, it's not gonna work. So what you need to do is actually transform this one using like a QR code generator. So right now I'm not gonna write this part. You can do that programmatically, but I'm just gonna use. I'm lazy as well, and it's not very important here. You can just like generating a QR code from the backend is easy. There's lots of library doing that, so I'm just gonna do that directly here. So I'm gonna pasting this one and generate QR code. Okay, great. And now if I'm scanning this one, I'm going back to the official account, and we don't see the logs right now because we need to be on the reaction side. That's where like the reaction API flow is important, because on this moment when I scan that, the developer receive the message saying like me, I just scanned the stuff and I'm inside a room one, right? So for marketing, it's like very, very useful information. So that's the first part. Let's go and see like how we can send message. So I'm going back to the documentation and I'm going inside like the stuff send message. Okay. Is this one? Oh, this one. Custom. Yeah. No. Nope. 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 Yeah. This one. Okay. Like once you explore a bit like the documentation, you realize that that's this call you want. Okay. So let's see what they want. Okay. So they want the access token. We have. Great. And then here you need to pass all this information to user. So obviously we need to send that to a specific user, right? So we need to have his OpenID. OpenID on WeChat is like the unique ID of a person that subscribed to your official account. So you need to get the OpenID, then you send your message. You say like, oh, I want to send a message, and then after you send the content of your message. Here, hello world. So let's do that. So right now the problem is like we don't have the OpenID of people. So there is two ways of doing that. If you're on the debug mode, where's the debug mode? Here. I can see that I have the list of everybody that subscribed here. And this is the OpenID. But when you're not on the debug mode, then you need to find a way to find this OpenID. And I'm not gonna show you that because, but it's inside the documentation. There is a call to list all the users. So I'm just gonna take the code I did. That is this one, so that's very basic code. Oof. I'm gonna uncomment it. So I'm getting the access token again. I'm calling this API, user get access token, and I'm gonna ask him to print the result. Let's do it. You see here, it's telling me like my access token is not valid. That means like there is a problem inside my access token. I think it's coming from a refreshing problem. Okay, great. It's getting back some informations, and as you see, like it's telling me there's like 14 users that subscribe to this account, and it's giving me like all the user, the OpenID, but I still don't know who is who, you know. So right now I'm gonna like use a trick. I'm gonna use like the backend to just so I'm Greg, I'm here, so my OpenID is here. That's my OpenID. So let's send to myself a message. I have my OpenID, that's great. And I'm gonna send here, it's about like calling like the API we want. Okay, so let's do it. Poof, it's actually pre-configured at the same. Getting the access token, taking my OpenID. Oh wait, okay, that's this one. And poof. Okay, calling this URL that is actually like telling to WeChat, okay, get you know, like send this message to this person. And then here, that's the message, and I'm gonna just to show you it's the URL also working, a link. Let's try it. It's taking a long time. It's saying okay, and I just got a new notification, and someone just like the official account just like texted me a message. So I'm gonna open it, and you see like the message is here, API message, and then here the link google.com is actually working.